Now at noon, 2 more people arrested outside the Portland ICE facility near the South Waterfront. We have details on the charges. Also, new concerns about people's personal health information getting turned over to the federal government. How the Oregon Health Authority is responding to those requests from the Trump administration. Plus, an update on the search for the Washington father accused of killing his 3 daughters. Authorities released these new images of what he may look like now after 3 weeks on the run. Then later, neighbors react to the city of Portland's plan to put a new overnight homeless shelter in the Pearl District.
Want the collaboration of the community. No one said anything to us at all.
If there's a building and it's available, to me, it makes sense.
Those stories, other headlines, and Rod Hill's forecast coming up as KGW News at sunrise. Pardon me? KGW News at noon starts right now. We start today's news at noon with a live look from the Chinook Winds Casino Skycam in Lincoln City. After some showers this morning, we're expecting a drier afternoon. At least that's what my buddy Rod Hill tells me. Rod, I think this is the first time I'm doing the news at noon.
We can tell.
In about a month. I've got the sunrise show on my mind, but we are focused on your news at noon forecast here.
Yeah, thank you. And Drew, we started the show with that view out over the water because you can see it's clearing, and we think that clearing pattern will gradually take hold across the Willamette Valley and up through Southwest Washington this afternoon as well. I mean, right now here in the valley, certainly we're seeing some sun breaks, but it's mostly cloudy overall. The bulk of the rain is setting up north of Portland, actually north of Battleground, and then in the mountains of the Cascades up towards Seattle. But radar is still picking up a few specks of at least sprinkle activity. The cameras, though, are really starting to look pretty good. What we expected at noon. Reserve Venus and Golf Club out in Lowell looking off to the west, 69 degrees, actually warmer right now than what I was expecting. Still a lot of clouds over downtown, but that same 69-degree number. And partly cloudy skies down over Oregon City. Caught a dog on the freeze frame there running across the grass amphitheater. That's the end of the Oregon Trail Interpretive Center. So I'm probably going to up this temperature before, when I see you again, I show you the 7-day. 60 right now, 69 right now, 72 at 4 o'clock. Could get into the mid-70s this afternoon. At any rate, Drew, the chance of all raindrops, period, will be coming to an end. We'll see increasing sun. Pretty nice afternoon.
All right, we'll have more from Rod a little later. We have lots of news headlines to get to, though. Starting in California, where the Trump administration deployed 2,000 more, that is, National Guard troops to Los Angeles in response to the ongoing protests against ICE. Those protests have started to wind down, and LA's mayor lifted the city's nighttime curfew, saying it served its purpose, helping to curb vandalism and looting in LA. Meanwhile, President Trump's control of the National Guard in Los Angeles is being debated in court. A federal appeals court heard arguments yesterday, but didn't make a final decision. A lower court initially ordered that control of the Guard be returned to California's governor, but that ruling was quickly put on pause. Police in Portland arrested 2 people last night at the ICE facility on Macadam Avenue near the South Waterfront. Police say shortly after 10 o'clock, one of the people they arrested vandalized the facility. Then an hour later, police arrested the second person who they say threw a rock at a federal officer. Those suspects face charges that include criminal mischief and attempted assault of a peace officer. Yesterday on KGW News, we told you about state leaders in Washington who were reacting to the news about some people's personal health information getting turned over to federal immigration authorities without their knowledge. We've since learned that Oregon could be faced with the very same situation. According to the Lund report, the Trump administration has given Oregon until July 30th to hand over personal information from the Medicaid-funded Oregon Health Plan. The Oregon Health Authority didn't respond to a question from the Lund report about whether it intends to comply with that request from the president. The health authority simply said it would continue to evaluate the request. The Associated Press, meanwhile, reported earlier that top Medicaid officials fought to block the transfer of personal info to immigration officials, citing both legal and ethical concerns. But 2 top advisors to U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. ordered that type of information needed to be handed over. The Trump administration is aiming to make sure that undocumented immigrants aren't getting any Medicaid benefits. The administration says those benefits are only meant for, quote, law-abiding Americans. This map here shows the 7 states including Oregon and Washington, that currently allow non-citizens to enroll in their state's Medicaid program with full benefits. The White House says ICE can also, once again, detain workers in the agriculture and hospitality sectors. That move is getting reaction from the Oregon Wine Growers Association, which describes migrant workers as the backbone of the industry. Last week, ICE officers arrested the owner of a vineyard services company in Newburgh, who's now being held at an immigration facility in Tacoma. Yamhill County Commissioner Bubba King says he's concerned both for workers and Oregon's $8 billion wine industry.
Not only is our leading industry going to slow down, but also it bleeds into manufacturing, it bleeds into construction, in every aspect of our economy.
We also heard from the Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association, which told us it's providing resources to help its members navigate immigration-related matters. The search continues for Travis Decker, the man accused of killing his 3 young daughters in central Washington, not too far from Leavenworth. The sheriff's office there released these images showing what Decker may look like now after 3 weeks on the run. Bridget Chavez, with our sister station in Seattle, has the latest on the manhunt.
Multiple agencies remain deployed on the ground and in the air, chasing new leads and tracking evidence. The Chelan County Sheriff's Office says detectives are still processing items from the original crime scene, while U.S. Marshals, local deputies, and the Washington National Guard continue scouring backcountry terrain. Aerial units are ferrying search teams into remote locations and keeping watch from above. Last week, Decker was suspected to be near Ingalls Creek. Experts say from there, he could have crossed over Long Pass or Turnpike Creek, dropping into the Teanaway Fork Trail system that stretches towards Cleella. The area is rugged, steep, and hard to navigate, but it is a plausible escape route.
Once you're in Ingalls Creek, you're going to be way down there with the hot temperatures. It's quite warm in there. And you can either head further out east down the valley towards Blewett Pass, or climb up and over another mountain ridge line, commonly Long Pass, and then come out what's called the Teanaway Road, which is kind of accessed via Cleella.
And while this case has stretched into its 3rd week, detectives say this case is far from cold. They say they're working it at both ends, and they believe it's only a matter of time before Decker makes a mistake and is caught.
People who live near Portland's Pearl District are raising concerns over the city's plans to open a new overnight homeless shelter there. The shelter will take over a vacant office building at the edge of the Pearl near the 405 freeway. KGW's Catherine Cook has more on this after talking to some nearby residents.
On the corner of Northwest 15th and Northrop, you'll find the talk of the Pearl District.
And it's not going to be good.
The future home of an overnight homeless shelter.
We worry about, the house values.
The city of Portland leased the building and tells KGW they hope to open the shelter by September. It would be low barrier, meaning adults who stay here can be drunk or high. They just can't bring drugs with them. Maximum capacity, 200 beds.
We'll start at kind of a low operational number and build into capacity.
Rob Lane is with the city's Portland Solutions program. He says the shelter will help Mayor Keith Wilson reach his goal of adding 1,500 new overnight shelter beds by December.
To make sure that they have a safe and place to sleep each night, to get them off the street so that they can get up and do the work that they need to do to move on to their next step of their housing journey.
So they come out every day, and where do they go?
Kathy Dunn has lived in the Pearl for 18 years. She says plans for the shelter left her feeling blindsided by the city.
They want the collaboration of the community. No one said anything to us at all.
Yeah, I don't think the neighborhood should be subject to an irresponsible campaign promise.
Todd Zarnitz is president of the Northwest District Association. He believes addiction is the root of Portland's homeless crisis. He doesn't think this shelter will solve that. He's also frustrated by its close proximity to another overnight shelter. Blanchet House just announced plans for a 75-bed shelter for women 2 blocks away.
The neighborhood's perspective is that if you're going to concentrate a problem, have a solution for the problem, and nothing's really being offered here.
I mean, people need to get off the street. That's not a permanent solution.
But for David Mink, it's a start. He lives nearby and supports opening the shelter on Northrop.
As I said, what are you going to do? Say, well, they have to be out there somewhere else. I mean, if there's a building and it's available, to me, it makes sense.
How it might impact businesses here is another concern. The Pearl District, already an oyster shell of what it once was, riddled with empty storefronts.
Everybody's just going to turn off the lights, and we're going to see this destabilize the community, and that's a very real fear.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
One more note to Catherine's report there. The city says it doesn't have any listening sessions or town halls scheduled to discuss the shelter, but says it plans to meet with neighborhood associations and stakeholders to do site assessments and walkthroughs of the property to help shape their plans.